Well, this is the first true siege in Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord, and my does it look absolutely gorgeous. Setting up the siege weaponry, ready to fire down, and the trebuchet goes already. Oh my word, it looks so nice. Now this is of course the custom advanced mod for Bannerlord, and it's not quite perfect. There's still very glitchy and things, but this is the closest we're going to get to a proper siege before the actual release. Pushing up the siege towers, looking at the onagers, watching them fire, doing all this, trying to take out the front gate until we can move on to the next part of the battle. Now, of course, this is the Empire attacking against the battanian horde, who are cooped up inside with their lord. Moving up towards the gate, it looks like this is going to be a pretty tough battle. We need to get that battering ram up as soon as possible. The problem with the battering rams in this, as well as all the other siege weaponry, is they're all destructible, meaning that you've got to be very careful. I've had sieges where I've come up with a battering ram and it's been destroyed by the enemy, so you're just going to have to batter down the gate with your own swords. The enemy, of course, taking positions on the walls and of course at the front gate in order to prepare for us an attack, and a trebuchet shot goes past, sounding like it hit someone off in the distance. Moving up onto the walls, we can see a siege tower off in the distance. Now, the AI doesn't quite know how to use siege tower properly. They do push them, but they don't quite exactly understand the whole climbing mechanics of the siege tower, but pretty much all the other siege weaponry is used pretty effectively, as far as I can tell so far in this version of Bannerlord. Now, I think we're going to be getting up some ladders pretty soon on the wall, because scaling the walls is going to be pretty important, and there it goes. The first ladders going up the walls they scale. Trying to bash down the gate here. The battering ram doing what it can. As you can see, a little bit of glitching from the guys, but I'm going to head up in the wall, see if there's anyone there that I need to take care of. Most of the AI are going to be defending the gate, since, I mean, I think that's just what they're told to do, since they don't quite understand sieges quite yet so far. But you can hear the battle raging on, and of course these stone piles that are above the gates. Now, these are mostly used supposedly for defenders to drop down on attackers, but I found that I can get a few good hits there down on the gate to help do a little bit of damage, and as you'll see a bit later, actually be able to move them around and get them down on the enemy while they're not watching. These stone piles do a lot of damage. It's pretty much a one-hit kill if you hit someone with a stone to the head. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I've got a little treat for you guys that like that sort of thing. Now, the gate is nearly battered around. This is the inner gate, of course. This is not the main gate. That was taken down by the battering ram, but as you'll see here, going down with some stones. Trying to do a little bit of damage, just to thin herd. And that is a satisfying sound effect, if I've ever heard one. But finally, it looks as if the gate is about to be broken down, and through they come the Empire Horde, swarming through. The battalions trying to do what they can to hold the shield wall and hold them back. Of course, is a little bit of a cluster at this point, because they're not completely, told what to do in terms of a siege. But I'm looking forward to seeing what this looks like from the other side, when next video I'm going to be going into a defending part of this siege. Moving in through, the battalions are trying to do what they can. They're heavily armoured and they have got big shields. But of course, the Empire do have the superior infantry with their sergeants. You can see some bits of artillery are still firing in from the distance, but also the defenders have some artillery that we might see a little bit later, with their ballistas just trying to pin down the guys that are coming through as they're choke pointed through the gate. Now, this is actually sort of supposedly a fire shot on the ballista, but I've not really seen the flames have that much of an effect. Now, the flames do have an effect when it comes to the onagers. So the fire pots team to set people on fire, doing that little bit of extra damage to very clumped up infantry. But the battle rages on. It's getting very bloody. There's everything going everywhere. Very little formations going on, but some are dispersing. Man's running away, but he has been taken down by an Empire soldier, doing his bit to keep them from getting away. and the ballista is taking a bit of a beating. A soldier has gone up to destroy him, and it's quite nice to see that even when the AI is on the siege weaponry, if they're confronted by someone, they're not just going to hold on to the siege weaponry and just get slaughtered. They're going to get off that siege weaponry, try and fight back, and maybe even retreat back to some friendlies, as we saw there. But it looks like he's coming back, throwing javelins at the Empire soldier, trying to defend this flag point, which you'll see a lot around this map. The siege maps have multiple flag points that have to be captured, which sort of indicates to a more linear approach to sieges, where you have different stages that you have to capture before the final keep. Another ballista shown here on top of the crenellations. Now, all these crenellations are destructible, not all with the same types of missiles, but most of them, the stone and the wooden crenellations, can be destroyed, as we've seen in the trailers and as I'll show you in some videos coming up. It's starting to become a little bit of a slaughter, but some battalions have managed to spread around the back, but they have been taken out by the superior Empire forces doing what they can. And just look at the absolute destruction. Taking a look at the wider map, you can see how big this castle is, and some of it is off sectioned at the moment that we can't quite get to, but you can see the back door there that has got rubble in it. Maybe that's going to be another way of attacking, but the far camp in the distance. But getting straight back into the battle, the dead bodies are starting to pile up. This is starting to become a bit of a battle of the bastards. Now, I might want to draw your attention to the wooden barricades just beyond here. This is where the defenders are going to be having archers firing through once the attackers have broken through the gate, but these wooden barricades can actually be removed and destroyed if hit hard enough. A lot like many of the things, they're dynamic and they can change throughout the siege or at pretty much any battle. But the battle is starting to come to a close. Most of the defenders have been slaughtered and destroyed, and it looks like the Empire forces are just mopping up the last few battalions in a complete surroundation of their men. You can just see the detail on the armor as we get up close, the different types of helmets and the variations. These are all actually the same troops, just the variation that Bannerlord engine puts into them gives them their own unique look at it. Now, it looks like most of the battalions have been dealt with, but of course there's still that pesky guy on the ballista on the top of this tower that needs to be dealt with soon. And the final guy in the battalions, the final one defending the fort, is running away. He couldn't stand it for much longer, but that is it for the battalions. They have suffered a defeat, and the Empire now rule this castle. I am sure this won't be the last castle conquered in Mountain Blade 2, Bannerlord.